It may be difficult to see right now, but there is a big one in there. Welcome back to Nate the Hoof Guy. Now, I know what you're thinking as you watch me start this trim. You can see that black mark and the white line, but that is not where I pointed, is it? I'll just wait. So once again with this one, it's pretty plain to see where that black mark and the white line is, where that defect in the white line is, right? But the lesion's not there. It's going to be higher. And I know that already. I knew that at the beginning of the video based on how these things develop inside that claw. I can see the flaw in the white line, but knowing that that's going to grow out over time, that lesion then is going to be up higher. As we start to work on this, you're going to start to see that shading develop, and eventually you'll see where that lesion is. It's actually higher than where we are right now. You'll notice all that redness in the white line as well. So what that is saying, or what that's telling us, is that the pedal bone inside the foot, that's the bone that transfers the weight of that cow to the hoof capsule itself, the way that it's suspended in there is by a series of little, almost like fibers, tendrils. They're called laminae. And what they do is support the weight of that, or transfer the weight from the pedal bone to that outside wall of the cow's hoof. And then ultimately, then the weight will be then transferred to the sole as it makes ground contact. But when we see that redness, what it's saying is there's inflammation of that support mechanism, of those lamina are not able to support that weight. They're stressed. And that allows then that pedal bone to move more as she's taking steps, which then causes trauma to the corium underneath. That's ultimately why we end up with a lesion. It's not pressure from the bottom, from the sole going into the corium. It's actually the pressure from the pedal bone inside the foot having more movement pushing down on the corium that causes that. So we end up with a lesion that we have to trim out and get to heal. By balancing this foot up, we're able to disperse those weights or redistribute those weights evenly in the claws. And if we can do that, then we don't have excess pressure, right? We're able to minimize these effects. Now, if you're wondering why I trimmed up into the heel bulb on this particular cow, it's because I know that that separation is going to go all the way up there. Typically, I'm not going to trim in that area. That's an area that's used for cushioning for that cow. It's not normal hoof horn that we would need to remove. That's actually like a shock absorber for the hoof. So I'm not going to typically trim up in there. But because I knew that this was separated and that horn was loose, that's why I worked my way up there. Sometimes the lesion will cause the entire sole to separate, and other times it's not, and that's what happened here. So because it didn't totally separate, we've got all these little edges that I need to work around. And what I'm doing is just following along with the hook of my knife, working my way down those edges, making sure that we thin the margins as we go and removing any of the loose horn around them. It's not a perfectly flat sole that I need to just lift away. That's not how this one is. It's released in certain parts, so I'm just taking off those loose edges. I spray it down as I go, just to define those edges a little clearer so I know what to remove and what to leave. This darker area here is just some staining on that new hoof horn there. This area here, that is where the lesion is. You can see right around these edges. Here you can zoom in, you can see that lesion a little bit. You can see the little loose bits there that I got to take away yet, and you can see the extent of that lesion. So we're gonna get that cleaned up, and then we're gonna get this wrap on, and we'll move on to cow number